Welcome to Straight from the Horse's Mouth radio show. I'm Paula Slater, your host. This is an interview-based show where I interview unique and unusual and creative people in the horse world. So I'd like to welcome Dominic Manzi today. And Dominic, I was wondering if you could tell us about your Sheep Equine Services.
Well, thank you for having me today, Paula. Our Black Sheep Equine Services, we're a full-service training and consultation company. We travel to the clients' homes, their farms, or wherever their horses are, or wherever their potential horses are, to evaluate them and to, get a good feel of what the situation is going to be like. So we're like a mobile type of a unit because we don't do anything at our own facility. It's more where we go to the client.
So if someone purchases a horse or is thinking about purchasing a horse and they want the horse evaluated, they can call you, and then
Correct.
You go with the client to see the horse, and I assume that you or the client employs a veterinarian to do a vet check.
Correct. Most of the time they do. Mm-hmm. Which is actually it's advisable to do so. Mm-hmm. Where they can do like an endoscopic examination or X-rays of knees, ankles, or whatever joints the client would want X-rays done. And a complete medical evaluation too is always good.
Mm-hmm. Now, where you come in is if they've purchased a horse that they think will work for them, then you can try to make sure, or if they're going to purchase a horse, you can try and make sure that the match is good in terms of partnership.
Personality and compatibility between the horse owner and the horse itself.
Okay. So if the horse needs a little work, part of your service that?
Yes, we do. We do basic groundwork training, in saddle training, prepping for saddle, that type of a thing, and any behavior issues that the horse would have.
You work on that.
Correct.
Yes. Now, also, will you help the client out with trailer loading and unloading?
Yeah, correct. This one of the specialties we have is trailer loading. That also falls in line of, behavior issues or fear of trailers and, that type of a thing. That's what we work with the horses doing.
And now what else do you work? Let's say the person is a fairly accomplished rider, but needs more, or are you mostly working with beginners?
Mostly with beginners. If there's a client who's rides strictly English and wants to do more on the Western side, we can help with that. Mm-hmm. Because I deal mostly Western, Western pleasure, that type of genre, but not limited to Western.
Right. And what about if the person is thinking about camping with their horse or something like that? Do you help them with that?
Yes, we would.
So to make sure that the horse is going to be acclimatized to different things.
Mm-hmm. And if you need to teach them to ground tie or to tie with, along a rail or something, or they can just keep them in the trailer, but that's kind of tough on a horse staying, in the trailer all the time.
Yeah.
That's why we like them to either be in an open stall or a corral or even just possibly even cross-tied.
Right. Well, we highline up here. That's a line that goes from one tree to the next. Mm-hmm. They are on rings and have not feed bags, but hay bags hanging from the line.
That's a good way to work with it too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, how did you get started in all of this?
Well, I have about 40 years of equine experience. My father was originally a jockey turned a trainer, and I started walking horses when I was 12 years old. So it's been in my blood for many, many years. I was a thoroughbred trainer for quite a few years, and honestly, the business was just getting really, 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 really difficult. It's a real cutthroat type of a business, and I just decided to continue in the equine industry, but in a more subdued kind of a way, more on the lines of me getting a lot of pleasure out of helping the everyday person, with their horses, with their challenges with their horses, instead of the 7-day-a-week grind about thoroughbred training.
Now, if someone is looking for a horse, maybe would they be going to you and saying, "This is what I'm looking for. Can you look for me?" Because you might have more
Yes.
contacts. When a new rider sort of decides that they're going to purchase a horse, they either go to their riding instructor or they hopefully don't look by themselves. I think that's one of the worst things you can do. And
It is.
yeah, so if they can find somebody to help them, that would be great.
Yeah, unless they're really, really horse savvy, then.
Yeah, and usually beginners aren't. I know from my first horse and in subsequent horses after that, I certainly had someone always with me. Because, or especially the experienced eye makes a good, when you're shopping, that's the best
very
thing
true.
to do. Yeah. And one of the greatest, most heartbreaking problems is when the rider and the horse are mismatched.
Very true, yes.
And it's often not a good, result.
We work with, the horse and the person going to be dealing mostly with the horse to kind of get a good bond between the two of them. That's what we're actually after. We work with the client as well as the horse.
Right. And that's nice, when that happens. But it's good to avoid the problems beforehand, before the purchase takes place, before the person becomes fixated on that particular horse.
Yeah, we were working with a woman that's in Denver that has a 9-year-old gelding that she had bought for her 13-year-old daughter, and they're just not getting along. So that's the latest one we're trying to work with now.
And if the conflicts can be resolved, that's great. But
very true.
It's good. I would say it's always best to try and avoid them. And I think that older riders, I don't know about you, but I think that probably older riders coming back to riding after years of maybe raising a family or because of injury have different needs than they did when they were younger. And they're
very true.
Yeah, in their mind they're thinking, oh, the horse that they used to have, jump, barrel race with, isn't the horse that they need now. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, as people do, like you mentioned, Paul, their needs change. They're probably looking for a more subdued animal to ride or to bond with, other than like the barrel racer or something like that. It's really, really high strung. You can still have like a retired barrel racer if you're able to teach the horse how to adjust to its new lifestyle. But your needs definitely change as you get older. I know mine have.
Well, and I think also with older riders, especially if they were riding in the 80s, the size of horse, it was the preference, of course, is up here, is for the warm bloods, the 16 to 17 hand hunter jumper. And I think as people get older, they're probably better off with something, the usual 14.5 to 15.1 hand horse.
Yeah, something more in the lines of a quarter horse size.
Yes. And then the other horse that's quite becoming a little bit popular here in Canada is the Haflinger, because of the versatility and also the personality.
Yeah, you have the best of both worlds actually in a Haflinger. You have your stockiness of your draft horse, but your size of a small quarter horse.
And watching some of the people or younger people do shows on YouTube, actually, jumping and so on. But of course in Europe, it was a family horse. Everyone could ride, from the little grandchild to the grandpa or grandma, and in between. And that's nice. And now, what about something that's popular in the States right now, and it's very important in the news, is the Mustang. The Mustang rehabilitation program. Because they're at risk, a lot of people are working with them and hoping to produce a suitable mount for someone that is willing to put the work in.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good program. You know, it all sounds good, you know, talking about it, but working with a Mustang, you have to really, really know what you're doing, because any of the wrong information that you're giving this horse is going to be detrimental to his rehabilitation, to, you know, backyard life or everyday use life, you know, coming off the BLM land management and stuff like that. Having a Mustang it's a real invigorating experience, because they do bond really, really well with a human. Mm. You know, you're able to have a really, really good relationship when they're almost like having a real devoted pet, mm-hmm. as you will.
Right.
And but they're a lot more versatile than having a dog or something like that.
Right, and all the more reason why the training should be a professional, and should be, ideally, I guess it would be, where the owner is there, but the trainer is working with this horse to help make the transition the best experience it can possibly be.
Right, exactly.
And then have sort of a, hopefully, forever home, but like an animal that will work for them, and this animal is going to be sturdy because of the selection over the years.
Right,
and
exactly.
I think it's a great idea, and it's so sad to hear about what's happening out west. But I'm hoping that people will use their better judgment and make sure that they employ a good trainer to work with that horse.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless they're really, really, you know, equine savvy themselves, you know, getting a Mustang you should definitely have, you know, a professional work with you.
Right, right. Well, I actually think that's probably a good idea for everyone. Many people, even though you've grown up with different ways of training horses, now it's more humane, and with the different styles of training, the horse is more of a partner, and it's just a different way of thinking. I think all positive around. And again, if you're older and you grew up with the sort of old style, things have changed quite a bit for the positive.
It has, yeah.
Yeah, for the positive. And yeah, I think it would be great to have somebody professional work with you.
You know, I've worked with some, you know, some people that never ride. They never ride their horse. They just play with them on the ground. Mm-hmm.
And that can be sort of interesting, too. I mean, a lot of ground work, you know, if you can't ride for whatever reason, there's lots to do as a companion, right?
Mm-hmm. There is. There definitely is.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the other thing that's happening a lot now is or at least that I've run into, is the equine therapy. Just people that are working on the ground with horses, leading them around and getting some positive feedback and helping to work through problems. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
That's an interesting area as well. So all these horses that, you know, up here, the track, the standardbred support from the government has been taken away. So there's a lot of horses out there that need homes. And yeah, hopefully something like this is a job for them. And it's a good job, you know, and it's a happy job, I would think. And, you know, under the right conditions and everything, and I think that people are striving to be the best they can be when they do set up an equine therapy clinic.
You know, standardbreds too make nice personal animals too. They're nice, smooth gaited. You know, when you're riding, they don't yell the jostling around of, you know, like a quarter horse or a thoroughbred. It's like riding like riding your couch.
Yes. Do you have any stories, Dominic, about some good outcomes of a pairing up of a horse and a human?
There's a couple that I've had. There's one girl that I worked with she was in North Carolina. She just wanted she had bought a horse, and she had bought it from a friend of hers, and she loved this horse dearly, but the horse was just pushing her around something fierce, and just it wasn't a really, really good relationship. I worked with the horse for, you know, about 3 or 4 days, 3 or 4 sessions before I they'll let the girl in with the horse and work with the horse and the girl at the same time. And they eventually, over time, built a really, really good relationship that's still going strong. Once in a while I have a phone call or two to help her through some things, but overall she's doing good with it.
Oh, that's great. And it's nice to have, it's nice for the client to have that support, that they can phone and talk about whatever issues they're having at the moment, because it might just be a matter of communication or.
Right. I don't think it's good that you just, give a few lessons and then, cut your ties. There's always going to be issues. And
oh, sure. Yeah.
I'm not one to just let, somebody be stranded.
No, well, that's great. And what about any older riders?
I had an older gentleman who, after a stroke, so he had problem mounting the proper way, from the left side. So I just showed him how to mount from the opposite side, and which I also had to do a little work with the horse too, to let the horse realize, what his job is going to be now.
Right.
He needed help getting onto a mounting block, and the horse didn't like standing next to the mounting block. So we worked with the horse to have him stand near the mounting block and
get used to that and be comfortable with it. Right. Yeah, and I think that many people are using mounting blocks now, because it's just a little easier on the horse's back. And
it is.
Yeah, and I think all horses probably, hopefully, should be acclimatized to that. That would be good. And then
I had a half Percheron mare that I used to ride. That I needed a 55-gallon drum to stand on to get on her back.
Right. I was thinking that the people that do trail ride, they need to be able to get on with it, whatever's out there. Can't get up.
Yeah, whether it be a log or a rock or
or the side of the hill. Yes. So, is there anything that you're up to right now?
Well, the only thing that we did recently was work with the person in Denver. We're going to be heading to Maine toward the end of May. Because we have some clients that are on the East Coast, and we try to spend as much time as we can on the East Coast as we do the West Coast.
And what type of horses are you running into? What breed?
Mostly quarter horses, some Appaloosas, the occasional draft. We did some basic haltering and leading with a couple of minis, which was kind of challenging, but it was fun actually.
Yes.
We're going to be lining up some clinics in Maine. Hopefully, like July or August, we should have a couple of them set up. Okay.
Do you want to talk about those? That'd be good.
Well, we're going to be doing basic groundwork, like level 1 natural horsemanship training. That's basically what our focus is going to be.
Right. And where will that be?
Where will it be? We're not really sure yet. We're still working on the venues. It's going to be up in the Auburn area, Lewiston, Maine, and in Limerick.
Well, we could put those up on the website if when you get the location and the times and the dates settled.
Okay. We're still working on the negotiations with the facilities now.
Right. So when you get that set up, we can put them up.
Oh, definitely.
Now, do you do any sort of consultations on the phone or just with clients that are thinking about getting some help?
Yeah, we'll do an initial conversation, whether it be by email, instant message, or by phone, and then if they want to pursue it any further, then we can talk about pricing and stuff like that. But we usually do our initial consultation over the phone or by email.
Right. And what's the radius that you use in terms of location, going to somebody's place?
Well, it all depends on where the person is, what we would charge for going. Right now we're in Southern California. We do have somebody that's in Denver that we go see, but generally we try to stay within the 150 to 200 mile radius, which makes it more economical for the client.
Right.
But the person in Denver was pretty desperate and.
Yeah, it's nice to know somebody's out there.
Fees are negotiable when you're going that distance.
Right. Like I said, it's nice to know that there is someone out there that can come to you. Often, at least up in Canada, the usual course is to take the horse to the trainer who has an arena and the facilities, etc. And, that's usually the setup there. But it is nice to be able to have someone that comes to you and you can work at home with the surroundings that you're used to, that your horse is going to be riding in those surroundings. And, it's sort of nice.
Because a lot of people don't have the capability of transporting their horse to another facility. They have to go and borrow a trailer or borrow a truck to haul their trailer or that type of thing. So
right, yeah, and that's definitely a deterrent. So it's nice when you've got somebody to come out. And then the other thing too with the groundwork is if you don't have an arena or the ideal conditions, it's nice to be able to have someone who's horse savvy. It's what you have, your front yard,
right, exactly,
or your backyard, and you get to see what the living conditions are for the horse, and you can make, I think, ideal to be able to see that they're there. So she's going to be more comfortable. This is what she runs into at home. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's good.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the client and equine partnership as good as possible for both.
Well, I think that's great. Anything that makes the bond stronger, wonderful. All right. Well, is there anything that you'd like to share, Dominic, about your business that we haven't talked about?
Well, I think we've covered the gist of it.
Okay.
We have a website where we can be found on Facebook as well.
Right. Well, just give us your URL again for the website.
That is www.blacksheepequineservices.com.
Your Facebook is the same, I assume?
It is the same on Facebook.
And Twitter? Are you on Twitter?
Twitter is blacksheep7458.
And
also on Google Plus too.
Oh, good. Okay, super. I didn't know if you'd be on Pinterest.
Actually, we are. Melissa set up a Pinterest account a few months ago, actually.
Oh, that's good, too. I think the more, the better. All right. Well, thank you, Dominic, for speaking with me today on Straight from the Horse's Mouth radio show.
Thank you, Paula, for having me.
All right. Well, then we'll say goodbye.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, what a great idea. A different perspective, a different approach to making sure that you get the equine services that you need. Instead of traveling to a facility, a boarding facility or a schooling facility, the teacher comes to you. Today's podcast is brought to you by audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at horsemouthbook.com. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. That's horsemouthbook.com. And one of the books I recommend today is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. And a quote from Albert Einstein, "Creativity is contagious. Pass it on." Paula Slater, from Straight from the Horse's Mouth radio show. See you next week. Bye.